Peace, peace, peace. Hey, I wanted to get on here real quick. And I had a lot of stuff to share and I didn't even know where to start. I just wanted to click the button and, let it be what it be. But I just to get right into it, I titled this Depression Ain't No Joke, because it's not. It's nothing to play with, and we all I'm assuming if you know, been through um enough in life, uh, it'll put you in a position where you feel compromised, and that kind of turns into something that we call anxiety or depression, or both. But this starts with the mind, right? This starts with the mind. And I had a revelation while going through something of my own earlier today, and I wanted to share like the things that I came to realize in my own moment of vulnerability toward things that could go wrong. And what that looks like is everything starts with the mind. Everything external starts with the internal. Everything internal starts with the mind. So, with that being said, we can look at words that has been spun in a certain way to be viewed like it is an external thing. For example, government, comment, discernment, judgment are the biggest ones that I wanted to focus on today. And I was listening to a conversation, and it all was confirmed to me in this conversation that I was listening in on. It wasn't my conversation, it was somebody else's. But they started mentioning things that I actually wanted to talk about. And it was things that in the conversation that they were saying that was starting with the mind. And I wanted to bring to your awareness the words and the how we break down the words and the etymology of certain words. And I'm just going to highlight those four words just to keep it relatively short. I can't promise you that it's not going to be long, but I just want to get some brevity in there as much as I can. So I want to focus on the last part, ment, ment. And when we put that on the back of any word, a lot of us probably wouldn't know that this means mind or mental. And it comes from a Sanskrit word. Sanskrit is one of the oldest languages in recorded history. And the Sanskrit word is manas. That's where it comes from. And manas means mind, spirit, or thought. So when we look at certain words, like the four that I mentioned, or any word for that matter, right? Any word for that matter that has the word meant at the back of the word. So government, for example. So we have mind, meant, govern, to control, mind control. And then we have judge, meant. So to judge something is to make a conclusion from a certain type of perception of the mind. And then if we have discernment, we are, when we're discerning something, that means we are dividing or distincting something of the mind, discernment. Or we have comment. Is to make a transmission, to transmit information of the mind. So when we're commenting on something, we're giving somebody else, we're trying to articulate information that we already have in our own minds. So when we take this into account, we can conclude that most things that we experience is a projection of our own mind. And we need to see this to begin to change the narrative, write our own stories, and take back the power that we constantly give away on a daily basis. And one of those things that we can do is notice that whatever we may perceive in any type of situation that we may go through, we have to check in on our mindset first. Check in on our mind. What about our mind is open to perceiving the information that I'm receiving at this moment? That just means that I am perceiving a degree of information that I resonate with in this current moment. And we have to take a step back and then notice that things that we might perceive in any type of situation, we don't have to resonate with that. That doesn't mean it might not be a problem. So hear me. It doesn't mean that it's not a problem, but we don't have to identify with said problem. That's a difference in mindset. We don't have to identify with that problem, issue, thing, predicament, circumstance. It doesn't mean it's not here. Doesn't mean that it doesn't need to be fixed, but you don't have to identify with that. And that triggers, that initiates stress, anger, depression, anxiety. And these things are the things that triggers a surge in electricity in the body. And when we have a surge in electricity in the body, that is something that we want to get rid of. And then when we have something in our body that we want to get rid of, there's a buildup of energy that wants to push it out. And when we are not able to push that energy out, there's no way for it to go. I posted something on social media maybe a week ago about grounding. And that's exactly what I was getting at when I was explaining that when we have a surge in electricity through the body, we need to model after professional electricians and, get information about like how electricity is ran through the house, or anything for that matter. There's always a grounding mechanism for any type of electrical circuit, because what the grounding does, it makes space for negative energy to flow out and to dissipate. And that's what we need to do, is we need to make space for negative energy to dissipate and discharge, so that we can start thinking more clearly. We get that clarity out of that. And so how do we do that? First, like I said, we need to identify that there is a state of consciousness, a state of awareness, a mindset that is identifying with this situation at hand. So also, there is a sort of a habit that we have in communication with other people, and we need to identify what do we constantly do to sub subconsciously identify with this situation, right? So, and this is going with judgment and comments, right? And these two things go hand in hand because these all follow under an umbrella of gossip. So when we are talking to other people, we have certain comments about individuals. We have judgments about certain individuals. So when we are talking about people, whether they're in front of us or not, we need to be aware about the certain word choice that we use because we subliminally and subconsciously project the way that we feel about ourselves, situations, and predicaments on to other people, and so we're constantly speaking it out. And need I beat the dead horse about the scripture that's saying life and death is in the power of the tongue? That's absolutely true. So we are constantly validating what we think about these situations that we want out of so bad, but we constantly validate it on a daily basis. So when we are speaking to other people, watch what we are trying to articulate to other people because we are simply just commenting. We're commenting. So to comment is to give a transmission of our own thoughts. And we are having perceptions. We're we're giving a transmission over the perception over our own thoughts. That's a comment and a judgment. And for those of us who might say, how is this true? Because, you know, I can't find a job and this ain't gonna help me find a job. Or this is not gonna help me with my situation because what you're saying is true. I should be able to wake up tomorrow and find my situation to be turned around. No, that's not how that works because we spend however many years old that we are training ourselves on the particular habits that we have. So it's going to take at least a fraction of that time to undo those habits as long as we are intentionally moving towards changing those habits around every day consistently. So when we're talking about doing the work, this is what it looks like. Being intentional about what we say to people about people, and then being aware of where we are mentally in each and every situation. Because this is what we project onto others and ourselves consistently and into our environments. And they will create feedback loops of the same thing, which causes a deeper, for the lack of a better term, connection with whatever that environment looks like. And what I mean by that is when you find yourself having a feeling of a stuckness, if I'm if I may make up that word. If we feel stuck in a certain situation, there's going to be a certain feeling that's connected with that, and then you are going to, that mindset is going to validate the feeling when you think about certain things that help make you feel stuck, or you're going to come up on something else that may be inconvenient, and you're going to be like, well, this is one more thing, that's how the cycle keeps going. And so, to take you out of that, you have to change your environment. You have to change what you focus on, because if you don't, you're going to enter in a state of inertia, which is you're going to be resting in that environment. So that's going to be your new standard of living, is survival mode or stress. So if you don't change what you look at, if you don't change what you see, if you don't change what you perceive, if you don't change what you think, if you don't change your outlook, you can't change the situation, because it's not going to bring you any type of clarity in the mind to fix the issue. And I posted a little snippet about that today. And you can't change your relationships with people either, because when you I don't care what no one says, when people quote unquote do you wrong, if it's not something that's violating your right to life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness, it's really not that deep. And usually it's not. A lot of people get mad over things that generally, doesn't really matter. They're just annoyed by them, and they just rather not have them in their space. And something that can be fixed over a simple conversation, really. And usually in these types of scenarios, the person who chooses, or the person who is feel deeply hurt by whomever else's actions that were behind the the tearing of the relationship, if you may, or the parting of ways, the dissipation of the relationship, that person is projecting some aspect of themselves that they don't like. Most people, most people, if they clone themselves today, they wouldn't like themselves, because there are certain aspects of self that are suppressed. And if you were cloned, that clone wouldn't know to suppress those things that you normally suppress on a daily basis, that makes you a high functioning, unhealed person. um, so those aspects of self come out through speech, communication, uh, just normal perceptions of life, the way that you receive, perceive, and project information. So the only way, not the only way, but the best way to step outside of that, is to come outside of whatever environment you felt like that put you in. So it can be numerous things, but You want to your goal wants it should be working towards something that you enjoy doing, something that you would do for free, but you also know that this thing could sustain you if you tried hard. That thing. And if you don't know what that thing is, that's okay too, because you're working towards that. And stepping outside of that and that environment that's keeping you in survival mode helps with that. So what does that look like? Going to movies with some friends, going out with some friends, seek a social environment that is conducive to your happiness, right? Or getting in front of content that is conducive to something that you want to create, something that'll give you inspiration, motivation, or inspire some creativity in you, or all of it, all three of them. But the main thing is know that meant at the back half of any word, that is the mind. So another good one is confinement. That's mental constraint, right? So when we look at words in these perspectives, we take personal accountability of what's going on so that we can pull ourselves up and pull ourselves through whatever's going on. Because it's possible that we can do it, but it's just maintaining the clarity of mind to do so. That's what's important. You cannot solve problems with the foggy mind, with a mind under duress. And the if we try to go against gravity, if you will, we will only find ourselves under more tension. It's nature to go into the path of least resistance. It's nature to do so. So why not allow yourself to connect yourself to natural law? And we want to solve problems against the grain. We do things frustrated. We get things done because we're sick of looking at it. Or if we do more things out of joy, out of gratitude, out of peacefulness, out of happiness, things run more smoothly. Time goes by a little bit faster. We get to our goals a little bit quicker. Karma spins the block on us in a good way a little bit quicker. We get more compliments on how we're glowing. We get more compliments on how we're inspiring. We become more of service to people. We come of more service to the world. We become a more contributing person to society, and that's what it's all about. We serve in the way that we are all connected, and we become a service to that connection instead of like a dead connection in a way, dead weight, dead connection, you know, and sometimes some of us even siphon in energy from other places, and since we're all connected, somebody can feel that. Somebody, once you get in someone's environment and, you know, you can get in somebody else's space and they leave worse than before you got there. And if this is your friend or something like that, they might not even tell you, but they might be telling somebody else, like, dang, I felt, when such and such came in the room, I kind of felt a little bit worse. Well, I wonder what's going on. That's a real thing. And we have to watch that. So that's why it's important to not fake it. We don't want to fake the funk. We don't want to, you know, come in the room trying to be fake, putting on a smile when we're not happy and stuff like that. That drains your own energy. And of course you're going to be draining other people's energy. So in order to do the work ahead of time, being proactive in that, like I said before, we have to go internally and take inventory of our own mindset and figure out how are we projecting this environment out to give me back the same thing. It's a feedback loop. That's what it is. It's a feedback loop. So as I am having a hard time finding a job, or having a hard time finding help with such and such, how do I change that environment? First of all, you don't stop. So you're not going to stop looking, even though it's tough. You're not going to stop seeking help, even though it's tough. You're not going to stop trying, even though it's tough. But you're going to find out, what mindset am I in? I feel stuck. And this feeling of stuck is feels like a mental prison. I feel like I can't get anywhere. And then it takes you down the road and makes you feel a feeling of lack. So how do we reverse that? First of all, having gratitude, recognizing the things that you do have around you, because there is a lot to be thankful for, and there is a lot to feel blessed about. I was watching a short video of Inyala Van Zant. She was doing a speaking engagement, and she talked about the breath. And she was saying the breath is your connection to the divine, because it's the difference between life and death. And she broke it down in a way. Actually, she broke it down from the standpoint of different religions, and in the development of religion over the last 10,000 years, probably. I won't get into that, but it's just the matter of just something we take for granted as the breath. We get to breathe in and breathe out, and then try again. Breathe in, breathe out. We get to breathe in another effort to improve on the last breath. We get to breathe in a new life. We get to breathe in a better tomorrow. We get to. We don't have to. We get to. That's the perspective you take on. And then you take that opportunity and do what you can. It doesn't have to be perfect, but it gets to be progress. So when we are complaining about our predicament, which I'm sure it sucks, I'm sure it sucks. And I'm sure that this situation could be better. Of course. But what is one thing that you can be thankful for that will help you make a better decision towards getting out of that situation? And if you need to think about that more clearly, then that's when you change your environment to get the full scope of what that looks like. That can be a numerous amount of things. That could be, going out, um, like I was saying, with friends, or getting into some sunlight, just going outside if you don't like that. Doing something you enjoy, or that's something that you used to enjoy at one point in time. Even feelings of nostalgia, that could be relaxing. People sleep on nostalgia. Old school video games, old school movies, things of that nature. Brings back that old feeling of joy, like when you was a kid again. And then holding conversations, talking about it helps. um I've recently discovered the power in conversations. Not only conversation that with people that add value to your life. It's none like it. Nothing like it. And not only does talking help you get things off of your chest, but you ever talk through something with somebody and you kind of solved your problem just by talking about it? It happens a lot because it offloads the overwhelm that your brain has at that point. It offloads that, and then it leaves your mind open to new information, and it leaves your mind open to the infinite, the 0 point. Your mind returns to the 0 point field of all that is, and that's where you need to be to improve your situation. No, it's not going to happen overnight. No, it's not going to happen. It might not even happen soon. Yes, it's going to take some time, because time is only the distance between 2 points in consciousness. So if you make a decision to change your situation and you get a visual on what that looks like, of course, time is going to be the distance between where you are now and what that vision looks like. And it's okay. Because how do you collapse time? Doing things you enjoy. Increasing the amount of happiness and minimizing the stress that you have in your life. I didn't say get rid of the stress, because life comes with stressors. But building the skills on keeping it at a minimum is what you need. And I'm not no guru. I'm not a one of those YouTube sensations that's saying, yeah, I did this and I got, $25 million the next day. I'm not one of those people. But I'm telling you from experience that this does help. It does help. It's tried and true. And I've gotten a lot of relief from it. So I'm done. I want you to, hit me up. I'm on Instagram, mindset, two underscores alchemist, mindset underscore alchemist. On IG, I am Marcus Travis. On Facebook, um, I am the Focus Collective on YouTube. You can inbox me either way it goes on any platform. Inbox me. Um, I'll feel free, ask me for my email, whatever. Feel free. I'll give you that. I'll give you my phone number, and I can walk you through it. I can walk you through it because this is what my calling is. I am here to be a service for you. And here's how I walk by example, by doing what I know that my purpose is for the people so that they can live more fulfilled lives. I'm not saying I'm going to get you rich in 48 hours, 36 hours, you know what I'm saying? Even though that would be great. But I just want you to be the best version of yourself. I am a spiritual Uber driver. I will drive you to your highest self. I am the vehicle that will drive you to your highest self. And with that being said, peace and wholeness. Peace and wholeness.